What is going on? Vince Wilburn Jr. How goes it, sir?
What's
Peace
up,
and
man?
love.
Peace and
All
love.
good.
Unity.
All
We
good.
we need some unity now after this election.
That's exactly right, man. It was a
Unity,
big
man.
weekend. And of course, after a big weekend comes a big Miles Monday episode. That is absolutely right, man. And it is my pleasure to have on this show today bassist Ben Williams. And for people who don't know, Ben is the cat, man. Ben is absolutely the cat. This guy won the Thelonious Monk bass competition back in 2009. That started a career. So many amazing collaborations, so many amazing albums. He's played with Stefon Harris. He's played with Pat Metheny. He recorded his debut album, State of the Art, Coming Age. His latest album is I Am a Man, which was released this year, February of this year, right before lockdown. So he gave us a lot of good music to bring into lockdown. He's an incredible player, and he'll be joining us in a little bit. But before we bring him, if this is your first time watching, why don't I let you know who we are? I'm Brian Zimmerman, executive editor of Jazz's Magazine, and this is Vince Wilburn Jr., drummer extraordinaire and nephew of Miles Davis. This is, of course, Miles Monday, the day we celebrate all things Miles Davis. And that may be Ben Williams' biggest credential today, is that he is a fan of the one, the only Miles Davis. Hey, before we bring him on, a big RIP to Candido, amazing percussionist who we lost not too long ago, and Alex Trebek while we're out there. I mean, I've been watching that guy forever. RIP to both of them. But hey, anyway, on a better note here, why don't we go ahead and bring in our guest for today, Miles Monday, Mr. Ben Williams. Ben, are you there?
I am here.
Hey, man.
Beat up. What's up, Neff?
What's up? What's up, Vince? How you doing,
All right,
Brian?
all right.
Good, man. Thank you.
We get on the screen now. I'm Vince, but off the screen I'm Uncle Vince. No, I'm messing with you, B.
Just so everybody knows, this is Uncle Vince.
No, it's all love. Go ahead, Vince.
Uncle Vince. That's exactly right. Somebody asked me, wow, Vince and Ben are related. I said, well, I think with Vince, everybody's family, man.
Yeah,
Everybody's family.
It's all, man. I'm so proud of the cats are killing it.
Absolutely, man. Hey, welcome to the show. Really appreciate it. I'm just kind of curious right off the bat what your week has been like. What you got into this weekend, and because some big things were happening.
Well, so I'm in New York City, and
that's right, man.
I live uptown Manhattan, and it was pretty crazy around here. I have even by New York standards, it was just a huge celebration, man. I mean, there was so much. People were just in the streets. I mean, they closed off Broadway. It just turned into a block party outside. Everybody was just joyous, and it felt good. It was a good energy. The weather was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was just outside together, celebrating and just enjoying this. This new administration.
The
reset, changing tide.
The exit of this old.
The reset. I saw Spike popping champagne bottles in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I was about to say, I never seen this big of a celebration for somebody losing their job.
Yeah, right, man.
Yeah. The energy was crazy around here.
Yeah, reset, man. Baby. Reset.
And I mean, look, the themes of what we underwent for 4 years and what we're hoping to overcome the next 4 years have been pretty resonant in your work for, a long time, including most recently with I Am a Man, which was a beautiful album. And again, kind of harkens back to that Memphis sanitation workers strike, and just that super powerful sign of I Am a Man. And I'm curious as to kind of the recording and release of that album, because Ben, man, that came out like literally before they dropped the hammer of lockdown. Man, did you have any sense that this was coming while you were putting the finishing touches on it or anything like that?
No, not at all.
Wow.
I mean, so the album came out. It was released February 7th, and So I actually, I did an album release show in New York, and I went out on a tour with Kamasi Washington for a month, about a week after the album came out. And by the time we got back, that was that weekend where everything just kind
Yeah.
of shut down. And yeah, I had a lot of tours, a lot of shows that were scheduled for when I was getting back. Some stuff on the East Coast, West Coast, Japan. We were planning for Europe. So yeah, by the time that tour was over with Kamasi, it was we just watched show by show,
Yeah.
just just fall apart. So
So
yeah,
B, you were going to tour from to support the record, right?
yeah, we
Yeah.
had some dates lined up, and unfortunately, none of it happened. We were only be able to do we're only able to do one show after the album came out. That was the release show in New York. So
Oh.
pretty bummed about that. But like you said, it's sometimes things happen for a reason, beyond what you may comprehend at the time. And you know, although everything shut down, um, a lot of you know a lot happened,
Yeah.
with within our society socially. Um, I think everybody just had some time to reflect, and there's just what happened with all the protests this summer. Um, it was it was almost like this album kind of spoke to what was about to happen, not just
Yeah.
Yeah.
of what has been happening. And
That's why I asked, before we came on the air, did you write that, you know, you know, did it have something to do with the unrest, civil unrest and things that are going on in the
yeah,
world?
it was about the unrest that's been happening, not not the way it has been happening in the summer, but the way it's been happening in these last decades and last
Yeah.
hundreds of years.
Mhm.
Um, that's what the album is addressing. A very long uh, history of injustice and inequality in this country.
Yeah, no, I can dig it. I can dig it. I spoke to Cicely Tyson,
Mm,
the day of the announcement of our new president, and we were talking. We talked for about an hour because she's so full of wisdom.
I'm
She's
sure.
such an icon. And one of the quotes she shared with me was, "In unity there is strength." You know, and I posted it on my website, and on my social platforms. But it resonated in the way she said it. You know, and I even asked her. I said, "Do you mind if I post this?" And she said, "No, please do." You know,
And
because now,
she's like 95 now, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now we can get back to some unity,
Yeah.
and with unity there's strength, and I think the music about. I mean, I was getting calls from all over the world when they announced the new
Yeah,
president elect, shall we say?
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but
Everybody's watching. Everybody's
yeah,
watching
Yeah.
for sure.
it's heavy,
Yeah, man.
heavy.
Ben, I want to talk about the man of the hour. That would be Mr. Miles Davis. And, I'm always curious because I'm a trumpet player, so I see a very
Oh yeah, I got
amateur hack
Miles
one.
behind me.
Yeah, man. Got Miles and you got Prince there too.
Miles and Prince.
Oh, beautiful, man. A holy duo right there.
Yeah.
I see things through a very trumpet centric world, but I'm curious if Miles kind of paved the way for you to find the bass, or if not, just what kind of influence he was at an early age. Because I used to ask people, when did you first hear Miles Davis? But asking a jazz musician, when did you first hear Miles Davis, is like, when did you take your first breath? It just goes
Yeah.
without saying.
It really, that's absolutely the case.
Yeah.
Like literally the first jazz album I ever really listened to was a cassette tape my teacher, my band teacher in the seventh grade gave me. It was Kind of Blue.
Yeah.
And I took that tape home. I was about 12 years old, actually 11, and you know, I put it in, and it just changed my life. You know, I felt like just on a molecular level, like my everything just changed. You know,
Yeah.
I I just try to imagine, myself at 11, what that might have even looked like, 11-year-old sitting there listening to Kind of Blue. But it's, it's really, it proves that music is ageless, it's timeless. Um, and it's, like all his music, it just, it's universal.
Yeah.
All his music is, no matter what the area, what the era, what style it was played in, it just always kind of went straight to the heart.
The core, yeah.
And so you playing bass like in the orchestra?
Yeah,
I mean,
So
okay.
yeah, both. So that was right when I picked up the bass. So I was about 11 years old.
Okay.
And they had a jazz program at my middle school, and I was already interested in music at that point. I was playing a little bit of piano by ear. Um, I hadn't really heard much jazz before, but they had a jazz band at the school, and they needed a bass player. I just started playing bass, and I joined the jazz band. And yeah, it just kind of started. It really started with Miles, just when you put on Kind of Blue, it's like it's instant. The first three notes get you.
Yeah, man, it's a mood.
And,
yeah.
It's a
So
spirit.
Yeah.
When you heard Kind of Blue, were you already playing the bass, or did that happen simultaneously?
This is kind of right. This was
Right at
all
the beginning.
happening at the same time.
Wow,
I
wow.
started playing bass, really just learning the instrument, and
so was Paul Chambers capturing your ear as much as Miles was? Were you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was really my first influence on the bass, just from that record, and just I kind of went on a rabbit hole of listening to all these other Miles records that he was on. All those late '50s records, and yeah, that was just kind of that was the foundation for me.
Yeah,
And
man.
it just went from there.
So upright acoustic first.
Yeah.
At 11 years old. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I remember I learned how to play So What when I was like 12.
That's about all I can play on this bass behind me, by the way. That is
Yeah.
strictly a prop, man. You do not want to hear me play that.
I always remind people like just how hip Miles is, that on his most famous recording, the first tune is the melody is played by the bass.
Mm.
Yeah, man.
That's the same thing Marcus said. When he got into
it. That in itself is just innovative. Like that wasn't. That's not. You don't always hear the bass playing the melody, but that's the first statement in that album. So,
yeah,
man. Well, what also is heavy. You grew up in DC, right? In the DC area.
Yeah.
So were you listening to any go-go or anything else before?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can't help it.
Yeah.
You can't escape go-go here.
Right, Chuck Brown, baby.
Yeah, man.
That's just drinking. That's like drinking water.
Yeah.
The go-go just comes from the tap.
So were you digging electric bass and acoustic, or?
Yeah. So I started playing electric pretty much right after.
Okay.
Because I would get gigs playing at like church. Playing like little cover bands and all that kind of stuff. Playing in school. So I was doing both.
Right. And when did you go to New York? When did you move to New York?
I moved to New York in 2007.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been here 13 years now.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. I have a kind of a two-part question, which is, as you were developing, on the bass, number one, I know this is the Miles Davis, hour, but as you were developing on the bass, which other bassists kind of came into your ear and helped influence your style? And then secondly, which kind of area of Miles' discography did you find yourself gravitating to? And you mentioned the 50s stuff, your Coolin', Steamin', Walkins and all that. Did you dip? Did you start getting into the fusion stuff, the Bitches Brew, the 90s stuff?
Yeah. I would say after Paul Chambers, got into Mingus pretty shortly after that. And then there was Ron Carter after.
Yeah.
He was definitely right there very early in my development that that just kind of changed everything for me. So yeah, so all those records from the '60s, just that every time when you're young, you don't really understand that one all these different sounds could come from one artist.
Yeah.
We used
Yeah.
to seeing like, okay, associating a certain sound, a certain genre with the name.
Right.
But I would pick up a Miles Davis record and I didn't know what I was going to hear.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, so definitely those the '60s records. So Ron Carter's a huge influence on my playing.
You know what's heavy, B Dub Neff. When I'm glad you said that, because when as a kid, when I was growing up, when Uncle Miles would come to Chicago, there were different bands. So I remember Tony. Then he came with Jack, and then he came with Al Foster, the drummers. But each band took on. They were different.
Yeah.
They were different. The rhythm sections were different. And as he gradually started getting into electric, the electric period, when I saw him with Michael Henderson and Al and those guys and Pete Coat, but I loved it all. I was like staring at Tony like a superhero, and Ron and those guys.
Yeah.
Staring at Jack like they are superheroes.
Yeah.
But as a kid, when you see it, it's like, wow.
I can only imagine.
Oh, it was incredible. Yeah. And I'm backstage. I didn't sit in the audience with my parents. I wanted to catch it all, like on the wings,
Yeah.
Oh man, changed my life.
Man.
And speaking of heroes, I mean, had you met Ron Carter before you were playing for him, as a contestant in the Thelonious Monk Jazz competition in 2009?
Yeah. So I actually met Ron when I was about 12 or 13.
Oh, whoa.
There's actually a kind of a famous photo. I don't know if you've seen this.
If you can get it to us, we'll post it when we post post this video.
It's been floated. So it was a workshop that I was doing with the Monk Institute when because they're actually based in DC.
Yeah.
And they were working with a lot of the young students in the DC area, and they responsible for helping me get started playing the music. So actually, we got to do a workshop, and I met Herbie and Ron, Wayne. I think Terry Lynn was part of that. Yeah. And yeah, I'll send it to you. But there's a picture of me with Ron, and I'm like 12 years old, and he's kind of leaning over me and showing me something.
Wow. I wonder if he. I'm sure he would remember it. Of course.
I'm sure he does. Yeah.
I'm gonna call him, see if we can. Insert.
I gotta send it to him. I don't know if he's actually seen it. Yeah.
Hey, B, we should try to get a little zoom of him talking about B Dub.
Oh, would love that. Yeah,
that'd be killer. Yeah. Great.
Yeah,
that competition. Who was in it that year with you, Ben? Do you remember?
Yeah. So this Joe Sanders was also in it. Matt Brewer, Linda O.
Man.
Corcoran Holt. There was this bassist, Daryl Johns, who was like 13 at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, everybody was great. Everybody sounded so good. I didn't even stay out there to listen. I stayed backstage. I was like, I can't even listen to everybody.
Right on, man. But that, obviously it launches a lot of careers. I mean, all those cats are bad cats, and they're obviously doing great. But that leads to a recording contract, right?
Yeah. So, I got a record deal with Concord Records.
Yeah.
And that led to my first album, State of Art, in 2011.
Yeah. Was it how did it feel to put on the band leader hat for a recording?
I really enjoyed it. I hadn't really done much writing before that, but it kind of really sparked that bug of just thinking about composition, thinking about arranging.
Any kind of elements of what you heard from those Miles albums work themselves into your head, as you were kind of mapping things out?
Yeah. I mean, I was just generally speaking, I feel like just his spirit of the way he approached music kind of guided everything I did in music. He's he's just so much bigger than I mean he's iconic. His influence is this is like really the spirit of this music. It's just about how to move the music forward, how to how to put a band together, just like the chemistry, just the whole idea of like always kind of thinking outside the box, thinking forward. That's Miles, and
man.
I think in one way or another, everybody is trying to do that.
I caught you at the Jazz Standard 2011.
Yeah.
And when you said just coming out, just starting out, A-B-Dub, you would have never, you were so comfortable as a band leader, and the cats were just on fire, and it was disciplined, and you didn't do much talking. You just would introduce a song, and but man, the talking was in the playing, in the execution. As Miles, Miles didn't want to do a lot of talking, so but man, this shit was killing. It was killing.
Yeah.
I still remember it.
And that record is killing, and it's out there. And if you're listening, I encourage you, go spin it, go buy it. It's an excellent
almost 10
record.
years old now.
Yeah, that's the thing. So that was released in 2011. Moving along the timeline a little bit, our listeners, our viewers would be outraged if I did not ask you what it was like to join Pat Metheny's group.
Oh man,
because that was it was around about that time, right? That you joined Pat's group.
How'd you get the call? How'd you get the call?
How'd that call go down?
So that was actually, that connection was made through Christian McBride.
Okay.
Who's also like my big brother. Always been a great mentor for me over the years. And at the time he was playing with Pat Metheny's trio with Antonio Sanchez. And there's some gigs that he could make. And he recommended me for this, the short string of dates that they had with the trio. And actually, Pat first heard me. I was a student at Juilliard, so I did my master's at Juilliard when I first got here. So for my first 2 years, I was a student, and so Juilliard, they had they would have like we would do these student concerts, and we would have these these residencies, like different artists will come in. So McBride was one of the artists in residence we had for a few days, and he did some work with some of the ensembles, and we played some of his music. He arranged some music for our ensemble, and actually McBride invited Pat to come to the concert to check us out, and I didn't even realize he was there. But I'm just playing a student concert, but I guess you never know who's in the room. So
yeah, Pat heard something,
Yeah. So I guess he was impressed of what he heard. He knew I was still in school, so but we stayed in touch. He would email me, and he actually lived a block away from Juilliard, so I went over his house to play just duo with him sometimes, and then eventually, this opportunity came up to do a few of these gigs, and this was 2011. We did about 4 or 5 gigs, and it just clicked right away. And he gave me a call later that summer, and he said, "Man, what are you doing next year?" I'm thinking of starting this band with you, Antonio, and Chris Potter.
Yeah.
And that was
Unity band.
The Unity band. We toured over 100 dates that year. Did an album that won a Grammy. So
you had something special, man. And Pat, like Miles, is one of those guys who one note, and it's Pat, and it's so idiosyncratic. There's
Absolutely.
no one else that plays quite like Miles, and no one else who plays quite like Pat.
Yeah, and the way that they they're always sort of looking out for young musicians too. You know,
Yeah.
Pat is very, very in tune to what's happening on the scene.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
checking out, who's coming down the pipe. Because I was only 20, like 24 or 25 at the time.
Yeah.
I just finished school when I played with him. So
He heard it, man. And Linda O is with that band now. She's
yeah,
playing with Pat, and so he obviously has high standards for bassists. And your work with that group was incredible.
yeah.
Your work with that group was incredible. Another young guy, you mentioned him earlier, Kamasi. That is a person who in jazz is really, again, like Miles, drawing all kinds of comparisons here, is exploding this music, really exposing it to a lot of a younger crowd, a different crowd, a hip hop crowd, a funk and soul crowd. Did you experience that? Any of that on the road with him?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Man, just the looking out into the crowds. It's not the typical jazz crowd you see.
Yeah.
We were doing some pretty sizable venues. Most of them were like standing room.
Yeah.
And a lot of just young college age kids, that you normally don't really see at most jazz gigs. But they love Kamasi, man. And it's because what the spirit that he brings. It's just very it's like a visceral experience.
Yeah.
Watching him. It's he just kind of goes straight to the core of the music, and it's just really big, and it's like it's he's speaking from his generation, and the way we hear music, and so that's why I think young people are so much into it.
But Ben, you too, man. It's a bunch of you cats that take this music very seriously. You all aren't messing around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can hear it and you can feel it. I used to play with Kamasi in a little club in Venice.
Mm-hmm.
And man, he would we play every Monday. We play Monday nights. And he would play like maybe like we like a stadium or a venue, sold out venue. He brought it every time he put that horn to his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would ask him, well, who's the bad cat? Who's the cat? Let's get a cat on piano. He would call Brandon Coleman, a Cameron Graves, or and it just went like that. So when you guys come on the scene, the word gets out.
Mm-hmm.
The word gets out. You'd be surprised, man. Who's the cat? Ben. I went down to see you at Jazz Standard. Kamasi gave me a list of names. It's so beautiful, man, that you cats take this music seriously, and then y'all take it. You don't hear it. You hear something else in the music, and you elevate it, and y'all take it someplace else, which is it's the way it's supposed to be anyway.
Right. That's that's the real tradition.
Yeah.
Speaking of like people that I got a chance to tour with, Stefon Harris.
Yep.
We always talk about, he always talks about tradition and what that word really means. And that it's not, tradition is not something that happened. It's something that happens.
Right.
It's an active word. So tradition is the.
Oh, I like that.
It's what it's a spirit of what we do. So, naturally that's going to change as the world changes. And that's the way this is supposed to work, and after my generation, there's already some cats behind me that, they're doing their own thing. So
you brothers are fearless, man. You brothers are fearless, and you respect the music, and it's like I tried to get you to come out with us, and you said, you were so busy, you couldn't do it. But I know once we do it, we'll do it at some point. But it's like I want to too. But I've seen you play in different settings, man. So you played at the Bowl with Jose James,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was killing. It was killing.
With Bilal, you had a project recently with Bilal, right?
Yeah. We just did a thing. It was during the lockdown.
Right.
We did this like virtual. He produced this virtual session. We all recorded our parts, like at home, in our respective homes.
Right.
And it was all like synced up to a computer at their studio.
Mhm.
and we put this album together without even being in the same room.
Yeah, but it was killing, man.
Yeah,
Great album. And
Definitely.
Well
I'm
figured.
curious because again, we'll wrap on this because you're there, you're in New York. We got some great reporting from you on what it was like, with the sea change of the last election. But
Mhm.
kind of what's the state of the music scene there? Where do you see it headed, and what are you working on?
Um, well, it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
This is New York is this is a cultural epicenter for this music, for just culture in general. Um, so it's very hard to do what we do in this, the way things are now. So we definitely have a road ahead of us, and I think everybody's just kind of holding on. We if there's one thing that New York I can say I can tell you for sure is that we know how to persevere. It's a strong, the spirit. New Yorkers have been through a lot.
Mhm.
9/11
Very good.
and just
Mhm.
they've been
Yeah.
through it all. So if there's any group of people I know that will make it, it's New Yorkers. But we definitely got a road ahead of us, and you know everybody's trying to figure out how to just do what they can within the confines of what we have to deal with.
Yeah. And how about yourself personally, working on anything coming
Yeah,
down the pike?
yeah. I've been working. My creative juice has been flowing over here, man. So I've been working, writing a lot of new music. Um, I mean, this is the most time I spend at home.
Yeah.
Ever. So
Yeah.
I'm taking advantage of this time I have, and I've just got my production skills. I think I've sharpened. Um, just writing. It's interesting when what happens. I think with artists when you put them in isolation for a long time. Uh,
Right.
the I think the music will be very pure coming out of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ideas continue to flow. You know,
Yeah,
and I was talking to some musicians about playing live again, and everybody has, we're like ready. Everybody's ready to get out on tour and spread
yeah,
this music. And
yeah. It means so much now. I think every
spread.
opportunity,
Yeah.
everything means so much more now.
Yeah.
If you took it for granted before, I don't think anybody's taken any opportunity to make music from.
Yeah, man.
Right.
I talked to Lenny White the other night, and they played at Smoke, and it
Mhm.
was outdoors. He said, "Man, it was cold,
Yeah,
but he loved playing." He said, "But we were playing, you
Yes.
know."
Yeah,
And he
people are
said,
going to have to get innovative, creative,
yeah,
putting stuff together. And as we look back on this moment, I think you're absolutely right, Ben. We're going to see just how this quarantine affected the music that came right after, and it's going to be audible. We're going to be able to hear. It's going to be monitored, and that's kind of fascinating, like cutting into the rings of the tree. And there you see this little,
yeah,
whatever it is, this change. So yeah, man.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Hey, we'll wrap with a few more questions. If people wanted to follow along with all things Ben Williams, where would be the place to do that? Where can people follow you?
My social media. I have a Facebook that's just under my name, Ben Williams. Instagram is Ben WMS on bass, and it's my website, benwilliamsmusic.net.
All
So
right.
yeah, and I'm got my music is available on all the platforms, all the streaming platforms. You can buy it, Bandcamp. There's vinyl available for
Oh, very cool.
this new album. So all the record, the vinyl heads, you can add that to your
Yeah.
collection.
Yeah,
Me.
you'll want to. Yeah,
Me.
you'll want
Yeah,
to.
yeah, we
Yeah.
need to get yeah.
I'm gonna get it.
I
I'm
got
gonna
you.
get it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna bring one out to LA for you.
Okay, B.
I
I
got
All
you.
love it.
right.
I love it. I
Beautiful,
love it.
man. Yeah, I Am a Man came out February. It's out right now. It's a great album. It's a great album. We end with this question all the time, Ben, which is after we hang up here, which Miles album are you going to be spinning tonight for Miles
Ooh.
Monday?
Okay. You know, I'm gonna have to put on some On the Corner.
There we go.
Right.
Yeah.
A beautiful thing, man.
Hey,
I think-
B.
Yeah.
B Zim, B Dub, can we wish B Dub's mom a happy birthday today?
Oh yeah, today's my mom's birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday, Mom.
to Ben Williams' mom.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, hey, Ben, really appreciate you coming on the show, man. It was a pleasure talking to you. This has been awesome. The new record, again, I Am a Man, it's out. It's awesome. People, go stream it, go buy it. Now's the time. It's amazing.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Ben, we will see you backstage, man. Have a great week.
All right.
Happy Miles Monday to you.
Love you, Neff.
All
So
right.
long. Bye. All right, Vince. Hey, man. Thanks for hooking that up. Great conversation.
It's beautiful, man. You know, he's reserved, but he's
Dude, Ben is the cat, man.
He's got that old soul.
Yeah. And that record, I Am a Man, is seriously great. That first one, State of the Art, what he can do with a standard, I mean, just totally transform it.
But, he's listening to Kind of Blue at 11.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
And soaking it up. Paul Chambers, just getting in his fingers. I can hear it, man. Yeah, and he's just as bad on electric too. I mean, his acoustic playing is incredible, but he can shred an electric as well. So yeah, man, it was a big Miles Monday. It's a big Monday in general. Vince, man, this was great.
Hey, let's keep them coming, B.
Absolutely. Hey, if you like what you saw, again, share this video. We'll be sharing some clips throughout the week as well. Like us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube, hit that notification bell so that you know when we're going live. That'll do it for this week, everyone. I'm Brian Zimmerman, and this is my co-host.
Spread the word, Neff.
Vince.
Hey, B.
Yeah.
We got these posters, man. Can you see them in the background?
I see him, man.
You can go on, for the Miles lovers, go online, everything Miles.
That's right.
Shirts, come on.
Ditto for jazzis.com. We cover Miles a ton. Our November digital issue is out right now. We've got our December print issue coming out very soon. It's all about jazz on film. You and I spoke about that last time around. Miles Davis was a film fan. He appeared on film a number of times.
I said Marcus, but you know what I meant.
You meant Michelle.
Michelle, yeah.
That's right. For Dingo.
Yeah.
All good, man.
Yeah, man.
Vince, another great Miles Monday.
Yeah, B. Let's keep them coming, huh?
I'll see you next week, brother.
Thanks, man.
So long, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Jeff. Peace.
Jeff behind the scenes.